Last year, Pick n Pay opened its second store at the Masianokeng Lifestyle on August 23rd, 2020. The second store came after the store opened one at Pioneer Mall in 2009. The retail store, which also has branches in South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Eswatini, has grown in leaps and bounds to become a major player in the retail store industry. In terms of quality control, the shop continues to stay above the most in this aspect.
Welcome to this beautiful episode of the Big Talk. Bisola ka ke Paolo Juan. Tsatsing la ka jeno ke tsamaya le ntate Sam Mphana, e leng a co-owner ya Pick n Pay tsatsing lena. Dumela ntate Mphana.
Dumela ntate.
Le kae ntate Mphana?
Ntate re teng le kae?
Teng. Tsatsing la ka jeno re tlo discussa journey ya Pick n Pay from 2009 until 2021 mona mo re leng teng. Kopa go botsa gona ho tlile bang re be Pick n Pay e la ba teng go go fe background e fela gona Pick n Pay na e bile teng jwang. Me le gona journey ya teng na e se bile jwang from 2009.
Ntate re ke qale pele ka ho leboha hore le mbiseditse kwana. And thank you very much for having me. I'm glad that you actually asked for me to give you a brief perspective ya Pick n Pay or background ya gona e tlile jwang. Ke tla o fa mahlakore a mabedi briefly ya ka hore na how did I decide to jump ship from doing what I was doing before Gear Pick n Pay, and what were the things that triggered my interest into retail. Ke wetsetse mohlala ke re along the bypass how ya o shibile Masianokeng ka mane, you used to see fields tsa merogo, and o bona hore this is a fertile field. E tla ga o feta mono hape o bone cabbage e bolletse hana mono, and that told me hore there seems to be a problem for the farmers there hore they are growing things and there is no market for their produce. Ya bobedi ha re feta mono e ne re hantse ke tshela ka borogong ka mona ke kena ka ga masego ke kopana le divine tse laetseng cabbage ebile di petleletse, and that told me hore in this country that we have declared ourselves poor and with high unemployment, we are not even able to fix our own issues tsa tlala. Then I developed this idea ya hore haebane cabbage la ya bolla masimong ka mane, it means there was no market for the producers of that cabbage, and yet here are trucks and buckets full of cabbage. There is a disconnect here. And I thought maybe if one would open a supermarket and buy this cabbage from Batwane ba Masianokeng, that will stop cabbage from coming into the country. Batho hangata ba mmamelang ba re ke tseba dipolitiki tsa cabbage and nothing else. And I'm actually proud. I'm not so proud that I have not been successful in stopping the buckets bringing cabbage into the country. And I'm not so proud because I have not been inspirational enough to get the farmers back onto the fields and grow cabbage. But the issue is this. When we started, what propelled me as a person was a two-pronged thing. First, to address the issues of the farmers, creating a market for them, and at the same time, hopefully, impacting unemployment in this country. This is what propelled me. I started first by applying for a franchise with SPAR. I engaged a consultant to put together a business plan and to do a market study for where are the customers. Most of Basotho ba ne ba reka thepa South Africa re ke Lady Brand, because that was the closest. There's a SPAR in Lady Brand, there's a ShopRite in Lady Brand. And this is where they used to spend their hard-earned money. And underline that word.
Exporting our money.
Hard-earned money. This is where it was spent. And having put together this business plan, we were advised to go by SPA headquarters to go and present it to the regional office in Bloemfontein. We went there and cut the long story short, we failed dismally. And the bottom line is we realized that SPA was going to protect the interests of their store in Ladybrand, because we were stupid enough to show that 60% of their customers of Spa Ladybrand came from Maseru. Maybe we should have not disclosed that. They wouldn't find the need to protect that. Therefore, they refused. And a couple of years later, I realized that there was a development at where Pioneer is sitting, and I saw a big board, Pick and Pay. Then I approached Pick and Pay and say, by the way, I have an interest in opening a store, and I see you're advertising or you're looking for a franchisee. I didn't realize that one of the suppliers of Sun International had also applied for the same thing. But we were made aware by Pick and Pay head office to say, guys, there are synergies here. You are running the hotels, and this guy is supplying you with meat. Can't you meet, talk, and see if we cannot work together? And that's exactly what we did, because we knew one another, okay, from different backgrounds, and that's how we agreed to form the company.
Ke papeletso la pele mona go utlwa o bua about go reka local produce from local farmers. Ke kopa o njwetse hore what must transpire for you to buy local produce from farmers?
Farmers should grow cabbage and sell cabbage to us. We have other ideas of how that can work, and we have discussed that at different levels of government and how that can work. How can we make it easy for farmers to grow cabbage, and how to make it easy for their cabbage to end up in Pick and Pay without them coming to Pick and Pay.
Okay.
The likes of the market, what in the industrial area, where farmers would actually harvest their cabbages and go and sell it to that market then sell it to us. So that to allow farmers to do farming, not to do farming and marketing at the same time, because you can't be that talented.
Doesn't work like
to
that.
be a farmer, a very good farmer, and be a good marketer. It doesn't work like that.
And I know Pick and Pay prides itself with quality. What have you employed to make sure that you still maintain the standard from local produce?
You know, we within the management, we have people that we call subject matter experts, those that have been trained to go to see to it that we have the right quality, and that right quality is actually determined by our customers. And that's why when I talk to farmers, I always say, bring us something that you know when you walk into Pick and Pay, you would want to buy it. Don't bring us something that you want to get rid of. But yes, we have subject matter experts, which I'm not one of them, but there are good people in there that works with fresh produce that determine the right quality, and that even negotiate the prices with the farmers. This is what Pick and Pay, this is how it started. And I must state that my partner ran a successful butchery called Benson's. I was selling bacon and eggs with Sun International. So both of us knew very little about retail. It was, I can't say it was a painful, but it was a challenge for us to open the store. Because we opened the store in November, December, Christmas came, and the following day, that shop was empty. It was like we were selling shelves. And we asked ourselves what happened. And what happened was we didn't have enough experience in retail. It took us 3 months to fix that. But it's 3 months of working from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock midnight.
Ke nahana Basotho from ntho ena o qetang ho e bua, ke nahana hona le Basotho ba bangata ba ka ithutang ka yona, because ho na le shop mona e butsweng ke Basotho, which is called Enrich. Basotho ba la hlaya ba complain haholo about the shelves being empty. Ke advice e feng o ka fang Enrich e le Basotho ba ntse ba qala hore o ka ba fang yona hore ba tswele pele?
Um, I, I I think I'm going to give the advice not to them, but to most people that would go into retail. You know, retail in itself is a field. We've just employed somebody who has a degree in retail management, and that person is our partner in Masianike. And it was a deliberate decision for us to do that and say, outside the fact that we want to expand ownership of Pick and Pay in Lesotho, but we also want to inject fresh minds into the business.
Skill set.
That person knows, I can't say 100 times more than I do about retail. She's young and very, very young. She knows a lot. When you go into that kind of business, make sure that you have the right mix. In the management or in the ownership, have people that know how to run this thing, because it is not a walk in the park.
Pick and Pay la fihla ka 2009, and then later ga bona ho bula Pick and Pay Clothing. Can you please speak on the demise of Pick and Pay Clothing?
Pick and Pay Clothing, Pick and Pay has the retail side of things and has a clothing division. Clothing division wasn't ready to support a franchise store. If you look at Pick and Pay, there is no clothing store that is franchised. We were the first. They didn't have the right infrastructure to support us. We would run out of stock completely, or we would have stock that nobody wants, and you couldn't tell them that I don't want you to bring me this, I want you to bring me this because it sells more. No, that's not how it works with with clothing division. Most of those stores are corporate. They are run efficiently only when they are corporate. The minute you bring the franchise element into it, it causes confusion. And unfortunately, we found ourselves being the victim of that. And to us, it was not good business for us. So we had to get out quickly.
All right. Ntle le diphahlo le grocery, Pick and Pay e offer alcohol, and we had COVID-19 and public health regulations since 2020 le 2021 di ile tsa impact alcohol industry very negatively. O ka re eng le Pick and Pay on this?
Those regulations, they were necessary, and they have impacted business in general, not only the liquor store, because you remember that the first lockdown restricted even the supermarket to operate for 3 hours. We were opening at 8, closing at 11. So yes, we still suffering the impact of those things, not only the liquor store. I mean, look, we had to do what was necessary and what was recommended by government to do in order to contain the impact of the pandemic. So honestly, yes, we may complain here and there, but as a business, we had to do what needed to be done. And we also felt that it is our responsibility to protect the people that we work with. And if that was the way to do it, by all means, we had to participate like everybody else. Yes, the impact in general in business is the same.
Ke kopang ke re tshwara hanyane ntate Sam, ke re ya papatsong hanyane fela. Babui ba rona re kopa ho ya papatsong hanyane fela, nke re lo rekisa. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this beautiful episode of the Big Talk. Bisela ga ke Paolo Khwana ntse ke tsamaya le ntate Sam Mphana tsa tsena ka jeno re bua about the journey of Pick and Pay Lesotho. Re ko amoela hape ntate Mphana.
Thank you, Dad.
Ke kgola before re ya breaking e le o la bua about unemployment, e leng gore ke eng o la e bona ka gara Lesotho ka monana ha o tla bula Pick n Pay. Lona le Pick n Pay e ka re ke eng e se le entse hobane unemployment yone e ntse e le teng ha jwale, ke eng in terms of Pick n Pay policy, recruitment policy e se le entse to make sure that you cap the unemployment pandemic?
What's one that I don't want to make statements like we are trying to cap.
Okay.
The thing is this. What we, as I said to you, we always begin with the end in mind. One of the things we wanted to do was to create a market for farmers and at the same time create employment. So in other words, by bringing a franchise store into Lesotho, you are actually importing job opportunities. And this is what we believe, this is what we are going to continue to do. Because that comes from Pick n Pay's fundamental principle that stays doing good is good business. Creating jobs is doing good, and therefore is good business. Creating opportunities for farmers is doing good, and therefore is good business. The opening of Masianukeng is just one of those initiatives to do exactly that. If we are going to create bigger market for farmers, if we are going to create more job opportunities, that's what we intend doing. And that is actually contained in our 5-year strategic plan, that while we wait for people to develop premises where we can open stores, it is also our responsibility to create those opportunities. And therefore, we have adopted an attitude that in the next 5 years, we will open a minimum 2 stores. One will go into ready build facilities. And if we don't see an opportunity for the second one, we'll create that opportunity. In other words, if we have to find ourselves building
Can
a
you
shopping center.
please tell us about how Masianukeng lifestyle came about?
I am not actually, I don't think I'm permitted to talk about that, but it was one of those. You had developers that had an intention, and we only had to add a sweetener into that to make it a reality.
You just had to add a catalyst for it to happen.
Yes. So that's what we did.
Have you had any engagement, you as a person, with the government in trying to create a conducive business environment?
I can't say that was my initiative, but government, yes, have had forums where discussions around creating a conducive environment for private sector to flourish. Yes, we have been to such forums.
Private sector infrastructure is still underdeveloped. Lesotho is still considered a poor country after 50 years of independence. Actually, more than 50 years of independence. Ke eng yona ya short in private sector for it to be smooth?
Let me just put it this way, without necessarily getting myself into trouble.
Okay.
I believe that the sooner we looked at the laws or regulation that governs business and bring them up to speed with what is happening in the world right now, I think the sooner we can get this country somewhere. Because some of the regulations, I think, are a bit archaic. They need to be revamped. I strongly believe that doing business in Lesotho can be made a lot easier than it is right now. If you spoke about Masianukeng, it took us 2 years to get the right licenses and what have you for us to open those stores. Um, I don't think that's good enough. And mind you, if it took us 2 years, it means those people that are currently employed there could have been employed
2 years earlier.
2 years earlier. And that in itself says we are not impacting poverty, unemployment at the correct time. So those are the things that need to be revisited to make it easier for us to create those jobs and impact poverty.
Ka kgona ho kgutleng potso tseo tse batlang di o kenya ka ga mathata ke se ke botsa potso tse batlang di o kenya ka thata. In terms of corporate social responsibility, what have you as Pick n Pay done in Lesotho?
That one of the things that I skipped, I think that is crucial. Before Pick n Pay opened in Lesotho, it was actually 6 months before it opened. Pick n Pay sent a high delegation from its headquarters, and it was led by the founder, the daughter of the founder of Pick n Pay. And the mission for that was to come and find out what areas of interest for Pick n Pay where they can actually have an impact, areas of social concerns. And one that was found was Lesotho had a high number of orphans. And then Pick n Pay gave us a task of saying, whatever you do, make sure that you have an impact on orphans of this country. So that's where our focus is, orphans. Pioneer deals with 11 orphanages. So in other words, we feed those orphanages on daily basis. When we opened Masianokeng, we approached the chief there, and he gave us an orphanage come Lehaila Dikowa, Lemono, made Pick n Pay Masianokeng, small as it is, it looks after that. That's what we do. And don't forget that even this engaging farmers is also a very important element of
Social responsibility.
Yes. Because if we are currently importing, let's say 80% of our fresh produce from South Africa, whereas we had hoped by now, which is 10 years after opening Pick n Pay, we would only be importing 40%, and 60% would be local. In other words, one would say, in that respect, we are not as successful as we should have been. And we consider ourselves a failure. But yes, we can point fingers here and there. It doesn't help us. That was our objective, to turn inputs against local products.
I think this should be a challenge to Basotho farmers hore ba tsebe hore hona le opportunity tjena ka ga Pick n Pay, and ra hloka re nke monyetla ka yona, and ha re tlo nka monyetla ka yona fela because re Pick n Pay ka ga Lesotho e be se re we qualify, but we have to meet the standards se le ke Pick n Pay ya se hloka. Ka khola ha se re tlo qetella ntate Sam, in the coming years o nahana ke di franchise di fenze le gore ke rona as young people should look into and then try to bring in Lesotho?
You know how Lona Lebacha, you're different from me. I'm not a very creative person. I cannot classify myself as an entrepreneur. But Lona, you have your creative juices running. I don't know if it will work for you. It actually might work for you to create your own. You talked about enrich. It's a concept. But you need to think it through and make it work. Because a lot of people think that franchises are expensive. Some are expensive, some are not. Franchise only helps you to import job opportunities. Nna ke le Sam Mphana ha ke motho a bohlale, ke rata ho qopitsa. ke ntho ne ke ile ka lata ntho e sentse
e sentse le teng e felletse
e feletse ntho eno ke fihla ke e
Be
hloka
there
mona
mono fela.
ha re bula mamati e tswela pele
Ga ke-
as long as I achieve the primary objective, which is creating jobs and therefore impacting poverty. Ho lona the franchise, the opportunities are immense. I always say where Lesotho is sitting now, opportunities are immense, and I hate to use words like we just have to think out of the box and look at things that we need most and import the ideas or the concept of how to address those things that we need most.
Among my friends, there's a train of thought where we should indigenize the retail sector and try to make sure that we kick Chinese out of the retailing sector. O ka reng ho bakgotsi ba ka ba nahanang ka tsela mofuta o jwalo?
What's on that? Yeah, that one is a huge problem. Yeah. People coming into Lesotho and participating in sectors that we think we ought to be rona participators on. I think there are regulations that have been now released by Minister of Trade that protect certain industries. I think we need to look into those things. I think what is critical, what's on that is to go into business for the right reasons. Earlier, it is critical that you go into any business for the right reasons. And one of the things that you can look at something that you have passion for. Passion. That and if you make money doing what you like to do, that's a plus. But just find the right thing for you. The Chinese, there is a suspicion that they are all operating at the licenses of us. So I don't think the blame is on the Chinese alone. We need to look into ourselves and say, what are we doing? Aren't we selling ourselves short here?
And I can say bona o buile ka melao ela ke di-regulations tse laetswa ke Ministry of Trade tabeng ena ya ho indigenize dikgwebo tse ding. Ke ipotsa gona e ka ba ke eng e Basotho ba tla kgona hore e thopothela ka ga kelello ya gona hore e ska ba di-front, because le ka ga melao ena e ntse etsu o tlo fumana hore Basotho gona ba subentse tlo ba di-front and they are getting peanuts out of those initiatives tse tla be di le teng. Ebe ha ke tsebe gona ke eng re ka e etsang, but ha re tshepe hore Basotho ba tla tloela boitshwaro bo ka reng bona bona that Sam, because hai che e se nna a tlo bua tsatsi lena ke bona se ke batla go bua se ke batla go bua ke pelo so so ka gola ndete Sam ga le bua ka go ba le wena tsatsing la ka jeno, and we thank you very much for your time and keep on doing great things for this country and keep on flourishing, and re tla dula go tsheditse nako yohle ga le bua ndete Sam.
That lena ke a lewa ke tlebile ke tla lewa le ba
Viewers.
Your viewers. Can it for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Babui ba Khabane, thank you are the viewers. Thank you for your data and thank you for watching, and please go and support Pick and Pay, and please go and support Enrich. Please go and support local entrepreneurs. Please go support local producers. Taba ya economic empowerment e matsong a rona ha ona motho re ka ba ga fihla ga mosupa gare ke yena ka fihlang a tlotlisa economic empowerment ka rona. Di-solution le tsa mathata ohle re na lona di matsong a rona. Let's try by all means to keep on thinking outside the box, like that Sam said, and just keep on trying to make sure we do great things for this country and love each other. Thank you very much.